Assalamu alaikum students. I am Ali Hasnan, one of your TAs, and today I'll be giving you a tutorial on how to use SFML. SFML stands for Simple and Fast Multimedia Library, and it's used to create graphical interfaces in C++. So it can help you build multiple kind of apps, including games and stuff, right? So here is a simple SFML project that I have created. I'll firstly explain the file structure and then I'll move on to how SFML works. So here I've created an asset folder that contains my assets such as images and the font which I'll be using for this project. This SFML 2.6.2 folder includes all the dependencies that my project will use. I have also created a makefile. Makefile will help you compile your programs without writing long build commands. So if you just run make, it will build the project for you. I can also share this on Slack if you guys want. Next, I have my main.cpp file जिसके अंदर सारा मेरा SFML project जो है it's written, the code is written here, right? So when you start an SFML project, the first thing you do is you create a window, and this is how you create a window. You use the type SF render window and declare a window with two parameters. Firstly, the dimension of the window, and secondly, title of the window. So here I have set the size as 800 by 600. 800 will be the width of the window and 600 is the size of the window, and this is the title of the window. Let me show you what it outputs. When I run make run, it will show me this window. So as you guys can see, this has created a blank window of 800 by 600 dimension and given it the title here, right? So next up, what I want to explain to you guys is that NSFML programs work in the main loop. So this is how the main loop looks like. While the window is open, do this stuff. So everything that you draw inside an SFML window will come here. As you guys can see here, we have also declared an event. So what it does is what this while windows.poll event line does is that when an event happens, it fetches it one by one. For example, आप mouse click करते हैं तो this line will fetch the event, और यहाँ पे you can write your event logic. For example, यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि if the event closed happens, what you do is you close the window. Or for example, here's another event. If event type is mouse button pressed, you set the position of the circle, right? So let's move on to the first thing that we'll discuss. That's how to draw a shape. So what you do is you declare a shape like this. You can find other shapes as well in documentation. This is specifically for a circle, and you use set color to fill the color, and this set position is used to set the position of a shape. So this 200 and 200 here are the x and y parameters, right? Let me run it for you and show you how it looks like. Wait, it isn't showing because I haven't uncommented this draw command. It should be here. Let me see. So what you have to do is that you draw every shape inside the loop, inside the main windows loop. So I have uncommented it here, so now it should ideally work. Let me try again. Here you go. Here is the green circle that we have drawn here. So here यहाँ पे जो होती है वो origin होती है आपकी इसकी, and it's 200 by 200 इसकी जो position है, और जो top left है वो इसकी origin है, right? Now let's move on. Now we look at how the keyboard input in SFML works, and we will use keyboard input to move the circle. So I'll comment those. So यहाँ पे you can see is keyboard की अलग class है SFML के अंदर, and it has an attribute which it has a function which is key pressed. So you can pass which key is pressed, इसके attributes are right, left, up, down. you pass it, and अगर right की pressed होगी, so you use dot move to move an object. So यहाँ पे we are moving it above 0.2 points, and यहाँ पे we are moving it down और y और x axis दोनों में से move कर रहे हैं. So let me see. Right. So you take keyboard inputs inside the loop as well, inside the event loop. Now let's run it. Step was not declared. Okay, my bad. I've uncommented this as well. Let me compile it again. So here we are. When I use my keyboard buttons, I'm able to move the circle here. Right. Now we move on to the fourth step, the mouse input. So inside the main event loop, if you comment this, so actually you don't need these, right? You just need this in the main event loop. So now when I run this, I should be able to move this circle with my mouse clicks. So what it does is, if event type is equal to mouse button press, you set the position of x and y. Like जहाँ मैं mouse click करूँगा वहाँ पे वो circle चला जाएगा. एक बार फिर से जो है हम रन करके देख लेते हैं. So ये देखो, this is how it works. Now let's move on. So far we have done how to draw a circle, how to take keyboard input, how to take mouse input, and now let's move on to sprites. Because when you will be making a game, you won't definitely just use circles and rectangles. You need something more complex, like images. So what you do is you load a sprite as a texture, and you can practically use any image, any JPG or PNG file as a sprite, right? So let's start. I will uncomment this part. What is happening here, we're declaring a texture, and then we are loading it from this image which I've saved in the asset folder, which is mario.jpg, as you guys can see here. And अगर लोड हो जाती है तो all good, अगर नहीं होती तो what you do is you raise an error. C error is used to raise an error which is could not load image.png. यहाँ title गलत है, but you can change it in your own programs. And then what you do is you declare a sprite and pass down that texture here, and then you can use set position to set the position of the sprite. And now let's draw it in the main loop. Don't forget it, it's very important. Let's do तो हमारा यहाँ पे ये sprite draw हो चुका है. This is how you bring images into the SFML window. You can also use the keyboard and mouse commands that I've shown you before to all your images, all your sprites. Alright, so now let's move on. Now sixth part that we're going to do is collision detection. I think it's very important in a game because maybe when you're making a spaceship fighter game something, so collision is really very important. So here what our code does is if global bounds intersect sprite की global bounds, what happens is circle का जो fill color है उसको red कर दो, else green कर दो. Now let's run the code again. Let me see if I'm missing something. Yeah. Right. So when it will intersect with this sprite, इसका color जो है it should turn red. देख रहे हैं आप लोग. So यहाँ में हमने कोड ये किया हुआ है कि when this circle intersects with this sprite, its color should turn to red. Let me show you again. ये रहा. So select global bounds लें, and if it intersects with the global bound of the sprite, you set fill color as red. So the next and last thing we'll do in this tutorial specifically is how to display text. So what you do is you declare a font using this command, and then you load font. यहाँ पे I will be loading this font. Let me rename it to something simpler, so we can write it दिया, and main.cpp में इसको हम लोड कर लेते हैं assets and kira.txt. सही है, वही सेम मेथड यहाँ पे अप्लाई हो रहा है. You load from file, and if it exists, ठीक है, लोड कर लो. If it doesn't, then there is an error, you could not load the font. So you use this SF text to write text. यहाँ पे text has two parameters. Firstly, it has hello SFML जो कि हमारा text है which you want to write. Three parameters in fact. Second is font, जो font हमें use करना है, and third जो है it's the size of the text. Then you can use the same thing, set fill color and set position. यहाँ पे हमने white set कर दिया है color इसका, और 50-50 position set कर दी है, right? So let me show you how it runs. Make clean कर देते हैं and then make run. Text should apply here. अब text यहाँ पे इसलिए नहीं आ रहा क्योंकि हमने main loop के अंदर जो है text को draw नहीं किया. So remember, it's very important to draw things in the main loop. Let me close it and then run it again. And I think एक और error जो मुझे यहाँ दिख रहा है, it's not a TTF, it's an OTF format font. Make clean and then we'll do make run. Failed to load font OTF for to create font face could not load font. Let me see, I think it only supports TTF fonts. So there was an error. The error was that SFML I think only supports .ttf font. It does not support .otf font. The font that you were previously using was an .otf type, so that's why it isn't working. Now let's try it again. Could not load font. What's the error? Let's fix. Maybe this is the error. It has loaded the font and here you can see the text, and this is how we have come up with this. So that's it for this tutorial. अगर मैं summarize कर दूँ तो what we have learned is how we create a window in SFML, how the main loop and the event loops work, and how to draw a shape, how to take keyboard input, how to take mouse input, how to load a sprite, how to work with collisions, and how to display text. Thank you so much. That's it for this tutorial. Allah Hafiz.